Okay, Mitch, we just wrapped up recording. Now, you asked me, you said you might have some questions for me, so I'm going to give you the opportunity to flip the script. What would you like to ask me, if you got anything?
Welcome to Stories from the River, a show in which we go behind the scenes at Broad River Retail.
So, Charlie, I do have I am an entrepreneur, a smaller scale. I do merchandise with shirts and hoodies and things like that. It's called blckheavn. I'm actually wearing the shirt now. blckheavn.com is
We'll link to it. We'll link to it in the show notes.
But I want to ask you this, Charlie. What does it take? What do you feel like? What are some intangibles you feel like you need to be a CEO? I mean, it's a lot of responsibility, but what gets you going? What's some intangibles that you feel like you should have to be successful?
Have you always wanted to be a CEO?
I haven't, no.
Have you thought about it? Do you see yourself that way? Only till recently, yeah. Okay, well, they say success happens twice, and you got to visualize it first. And so I think, look, before I was CEO of this company, I was our COO for many years, like 10 years. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I didn't.
Yeah, and I got a small taste potential really early on when Jackson and Jonathan were talking to private equity, and I was going to be the guy who they were going to hand the reins over. Now this was really early on, and it didn't happen for several more years, but I had to start reflecting on, well, what's that going to be like? And so I think that kind of starts. You have to start. You don't want to just come upon a job and not have ever thought about it or reflected on it before. And I think through that reflection, and maybe verbalizing it, writing it down, talking about it. You got to see it in your mind first. You have to talk. You can talk to your wife about it, talk to those who you trust, who are close to you. And you start to kind of understand, well, what skills do I need? Like when I first took on this role, Jonathan used to deal with the attorneys and the bankers and on the real estate leases. I had very minimal experience with that. And I was a little bit like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I'm getting myself into, but you just kind of you talked about going towards where you're, being uncomfortable. And so just kind of moving towards that direction. Now necessity was the mother of invention. At that point, I had to do it. There's no other way around it. But I think that forced myself to kind of learn new skills. So I'd say, look at where your blind spots are, you think, and then always know your numbers. There's some great books I could recommend. I mean, I think The Road Less Stupid by Keith J. Cunningham is a great one. He calls it The Road Less Stupid, Advice from the Chairman of the Board. But it's about keeping the lug nuts tight. And you can read that book non-linearly. You can just take one chapter in the middle and just read it. And then he distills it down to a bumper sticker. He's like, here it is on a bumper sticker. And then he gives you time for thinking time. Here's the questions I want you to think about and reflect on. So it's just pragmatic business advice. I think a lot of Jim Collins books. I had a lot of ideas about business when I became the president and CEO, and that I got a chance to test out because we were failing at the time and not doing really well, and a lot of things, the wheels were off. And we kind of had to rebuild them and repair them. And we've talked about those 2015 moments here. And so, I think having ideas if you were going to be a head coach, you don't want to have not ever been some of the steps. Maybe I'll be a wide receiver coach, or maybe I'll be an offensive coordinator. Maybe I'll be an associate head coach, because you want to kind of go through some of those and formulate ideas and just kind of borrow ideas from others. But I think knowing your financials is really important. Having good relationships with your bankers, because access to capital or to your investors, and understanding your numbers, having a good budgeting discipline, I think is really important. And then, you got to have good reporting, right? How are you going to fly the plane? So business intelligence helps you focus on the lead measures, which will then prove out the lag measures. I don't know if that's helpful at all, but
it does, man.
We can go to lunch one day or breakfast and talk more about it if you like.
Man, I'm always looking to pick your brain. Never really get a chance to really talk to you that much, but just that little 2 minutes helped.
All right. Well, let's keep it going. You got another question or two?
Yeah. So and you've been Broad River for how long? How long is it?
May 1, 2005.
So what would you say, what was the peak of, hey, this thing is working out, it's great. What's the peak? And then what's the lowest moment of career here, as CEO? What's some of the highest and the lowest point?
I guess it's funny. I can think of the lowest really quickly and easily.
Was it COVID?
No. It
Oh
was
wow.
it was the 11-month period from 2015 through when we look. We had a lot of turmoil and we didn't know the long term where we were going to go as a company. And I had like 10 years of sweat
Really?
equity in the business, and so yeah. So that was a really emotional time. Yeah, 2015. I felt like I woke up with a gun at my head every day for a year, and I had to kind of wake up and smile, and not let others see the fear or the concern, and just also not lose faith that we were going to get through it. And
Yeah.
so that was a tough year. That was probably the lowest moment, but that was also a very beautiful season because I really got to see God's active hand on the business and show up. And it wasn't hope. It was faith, and then we picked up our shovel and went to work. The best times, I mean, there was a lot of great times. I think when we brought in Inky Johnson and Joey Ryman, and
I'm mad I missed that, man. Inky Johnson. Yeah, I seen some of his.
We'll link to his YouTube video here on your episode if you'd like. But that was special when we launched our purpose statement. We had some, like, we would do fun events at the campus before COVID. Like, I got dunked in a dunk tank and my kids were out there one time. That was, I think, at our semi-annual award celebration that we used to do in July. We used to make up reasons for events. It's funny, my mom will find these memories on Facebook from like many years ago, and she'll always message them to me. And so a lot of them are from like our Orange Crush tours. We did it 3 years in a row. We did a road show. We went to every location, and probably OC3, the Memory Maker tour. I mean, we did like 24 town halls in a row, back to back. But we were like, it's like almost like college game day, taking the RV on the road and spending a day with the team and doing like almost it's almost like politicking, Stumptown speeches, rolling out the new year. And the year of purpose was a lot of fun, being on the purpose activation committee. So those, I mean, I think maybe the highest high was the day we completed the management buyout, June 5th, 2018. That was such a culmination of a hugely emotional and monumental day. And then 2 days later, we announced that to the company at RX. The pep rally we did, where we kind of blindfolded all the GMs and we walked them through the campus, and then we kind of had it like like an announcement, like a football pep rally. We had everyone surprised on either side, and we did like player announcements and had them run through the tunnel with the smoke and everything. And then that was our like hurrah, like we were going to go after it. This was May 2016 to kind of win back the company, turn the company around, and so that was really fun. We used to have themes for every month. Although I liked it, others didn't like it, but I remember like No Limit November and stuff like that. We'd make it all a big game and T-shirts for it. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. It looks like I missed some stuff.
Mitch, what's your final question?
I mean, the last 2 years I've been here, we've had our gala at the Panthers Bank of America Stadium. What does it look like? What would be the next venue? And could I, just throwing it out there, could it be normally it's in January, could it be a cruise? Could it be, I don't know, at AT&T Stadium in Dallas? I'm just throwing some things on the wall, seeing if it fits or not.
I think the cruise might stick more than the going to Dallas. It's interesting. Maybe we'll all go. Orlando might be a better place. Let's all go to Disney World or something, or Universal Studios. And we'll bring our plus ones, or we'll go to the Caribbean. We'll bring this whole conversation full circle. We'll go to the Caribbean. We'll go on a cruise. We'll go to the Bahamas or something like that. I'd love to get plus ones invited. We'd love to go. I'd love to take a cruise together with the team and do stuff like that. And those are some of the things that we have in mind for the future. I think those are great questions to ask. We get a lot about plus one. We ran out of space. We wanted to fill it up with all our memory makers here at Bank of America Stadium. But what we ought to do? We need to live stream it So that even if it's not your plus one, if it's your kids, it's your parents, your grandparents. I've been at some of these awards where they're like, hey, Mom, if it wasn't for you, Dad, if it wasn't for you, so we need to live stream it. Or your team back home, if they have viewing parties. And then maybe we'll take it remote. We'll go to some cool locations. But, last year was our year to elevate. So how are we going to elevate and keep going? We got to one-up ourselves. So we'll figure it out, Mitch. But those are good questions. Hopefully this has been a fun conversation, man. Thanks for carving out some time. I think you got 3 days off coming up, and then you got the big President's Day weekend.
Yeah, I am headed to Pigeon Forge for just a few days just to kind of, re-up, get my mind off business and be back at it.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you so much, Mitch. Hey, that's the great Mitch Dixon. Thanks so much for joining us here at Stories from the River and this bonus episode, a little flip the script action with Mitch asking me some questions. And join us Tuesdays, Thursdays, or whenever we have bonus episodes. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for listening to Stories from the River. To check out more episodes, visit storiesfromtheriver.com. Join us again next week, and remember to like, rate, and subscribe to the podcast.